Greetings. My name is Nathan Vo, and I'm here to talk about how to open a restaurant and the steps needed to take. And you're probably wondering, what are my qualifications? Have I ever opened a restaurant on my own? Do I know the steps? The answer is no, I have not opened a restaurant, and yes, I do know the steps. You're probably wondering, how do you know the steps if you never opened a restaurant? I've done extensive research on this topic, from interviews with people who open restaurants that I have not done myself, but I watched, and overall how-to videos and articles on how to open a restaurant, and chefs who made a mapping out plan on how to open a restaurant. So I say I'm pretty good in this topic. So the key stages to open a restaurant is in threes: the idea/concepts, the preparation stage, and finally the physical stage. Of course, these steps aren't guaranteed to make your restaurant successful. These are just an outline that you need, that most people follow to open a restaurant, and they usually turn out well. Well, with introductions out of the way, let's start with the first stage, which is idea/concepts. With idea/concepts, you need to know what type of restaurant you're owning, whether it be a burger spot, a pizza place, or a Chinese restaurant. It doesn't have to be just three. You can have pasta, it's whatever. But you need to level down on what type of restaurant you want, and if it's possible. So a good way to nail this down is trying out a bunch of other restaurants with a bunch of different topics and seeing which one you think will suit you more with your cooking style. Of course, if you know how to cook, which you should if you're opening a restaurant. And knowing what type of restaurant you want is one of the first steps to take. The next step is something for everyone that I'm saying that you need to do. Is coming up with a business plan. It is one of the most important parts to opening a business, not just a restaurant, but a business in general. What a business plan is just a way to keep organize your steps, your ideas, and for you to execute it. A business plan is really helpful for mapping out your steps and things like that. It's keep you organized, and without a business plan, you're basically disorganized, not knowing what to do. A business plan keeps you nice and linear. Now, on to stage 2, which is preparation stage. This is basically all the legal stuff you have to do, like finding the funding you need to open a restaurant, finding the place to open, and of course filling out the proper paperwork. It's all pretty boring stuff, but it's all necessary. The preparation stage is necessary. First and foremost, you should find funding to open a restaurant. What most people do is ask the bank to open a restaurant. They ask for a loan. The problem is you have to convince them that you're qualified enough that they'll get this investment back. And this is one of the most hardest parts for people, because you have to convince them that your food is good enough. It's like a competition, but not. But other people, what alternatives you could save up? Either save up to a point where you could open your restaurant, or you could ask a bunch of friends if you want to help you invest into open a restaurant, and then you give them money back. I find this one's a lot more easier to do, but I think the bank one, in my personal opinion, is the quickest. It saves the most time, and it's the most direct. And the second step is finding a location. Once you found according to Harold Samuel, it's location. Location is everything. So a good location where you can find is usually next to crowded areas. say parks, colleges, business buildings with a lot of employees, things like that, where there's a lot of people rushing, trying to get something to eat. Those are good spots to get. Then all the paperwork. The paperwork, probably one of the most annoying things. You have to fill out your food license. You have to get a license to sell alcohol, parking of a health department permit, restaurant insurance, and a bunch of other things. And I'm not even going to get started on accounting. You know what? Actually, I am. Accounting is annoying if you're opening a restaurant, especially if you're not good at math. So what I recommend is first doing a balance sheet, a simple income, debt thing. I don't know. But balance sheet, you can look it up. These are really simple. It helps you keep organized of the things you purchase and the money you're making. So by the end, it should be balanced. If it's not, it helps you keep track of like your money essentially. It's really needed because you don't wanna open a restaurant and be in debt immediately because you've been spending more than you've been making. So that's what a balance sheet could help you with. But once you get in the roll of things, I recommend getting an accountant because they'll just deal with the money aspect. But then you have to keep all your receipts that you made, all the money. It's a whole complicated mess. But once you're done with all that, it's on to the fun stuff, which is the physical stage. Once you find your location and everything's set up, you get your inspector, get your health inspector, says all good, you could open a restaurant. First comes the fun part, making your menu. Once you make your menu, you already decided what type of restaurant you want, whether it be Chinese, blah, 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 pizza. Once you find your thing, you make your menu. And you could have a way to test this menu is either having a party and, making the food so your friends could try it and stuff, their friends. But I recommend once places reopen, like festivals and parades and carnivals and stuff, you open a stand in one of them, get objective criticisms, and see what you need to organize stuff. And it also helps with marketing. Having a festival stand brings people to know, oh, this is a good restaurant. Maybe I should try it once they open. This food is solid, and they will help you criticize what you need, whether it be like your food's too salty, it's not enough seasoning, too burnt, too this, too that. Customer service. It also gives you a good chance to meet people. Connections, one of the most important parts. With connections, you could get this like cult following. With food, it's like this small chain. Oh yeah, people love it and stuff. But festivals is a good choice to really let yourself out there. It also helps with your people skills and interacting with customers if you've never had any experience with that. And once that's done, you can pick your staff. Usually with the festivals, usually just yourself and three other people. But once you pick your staff, you get your dream team, you train them. It should be all smooth sailings from there, depending on the size of your restaurant, of course. And the most important thing to remember in the physical stage that it will always be there. It will not end. The physical stage is your journey until you retire. And the physical stage, one important thing to remember that owning a restaurant is not a game. You undercook something, you don't include any ingredients like a peanut, whatever. Someone could die. Someone could get sick. It is not a game. Open a restaurant is not a game. You need to be committed when opening a restaurant. It can't be just a hangout, which what most people do. An interview with Gordon Ramsay, he once said, he was asked why is he more mean on Kitchen Nightmare than he was on MasterChef. And he said, Kitchen Nightmare, that's really started it first. So that was real because I wanted this business to work. Master Chef is completely different. These are amateurs. Hell, Kitchen Nightmares is a restaurant and they operating. Master Chef is not. You're operating with real people. It's not a game. There's real people and there's real consequences. That's why you should take opening a restaurant seriously. Well, these are the stages to open a restaurant. There are many more steps included that I did not include, but the concept stage, the preparation stage, and the physical stage are the most important parts, in my opinion, to open a restaurant. These steps are needed to open one. These steps are the steps that most people follow. But you don't have to, of course, but you should. But remember, it's not guaranteed following these steps would work. These are just a guide to open a restaurant. And some people, when they don't follow these guides and do things without plans, someone could get hurt, and maybe they shouldn't own a restaurant if you're not taking this seriously. It's not a game. And these are just the steps to show you how to open a restaurant.